Good morning, everybody. Craig Peterson here. Apparently, I was a bit of a ratings bonanza. Yours truly, yes, indeed. A couple of weeks ago when I was on the air and I told my story about my alien encounter with UFO. And we talked more this morning about UFOs and a little bit more also about the appearance this last weekend on CNN of Energy Secretary Jennifer Granholm, who talked about how our businesses are constantly under attack and our grid is in danger. She even admitted that our grid, electrical grid, could be shut down by a foreign adversary. So here we go with Mr. Chris Ryan.
Is Craig Peterson, who hosts Tech Talk on News Radio 610 and 96.7, Saturdays and Sundays at 11. Craig, how are you?
Hey, I am doing well, sir.
Appreciate you joining us. So let's start with this. I don't want to do aliens each time with you, but given the fact that the second to last time you're on, it was a ratings bonanza when you talked about the fact that you had experienced an encounter with a UFO, and we got the report, or the leaking of what's potentially in the report from the New York Times. We're all waiting this congressional report, and it indicates that we still don't know. Is that problematic for you as somebody that has experienced an encounter and you have the documented visual evidence and the testimony of individuals in the Navy, or is it not, because we can't make any clear determinations based upon the fact that we have, at least reportedly, not have any evidence to indicate that there is extraterrestrial life on Earth?
But it depends on what you define as evidence, right? There's the Roswell theory that somehow we were able to capture a crashed UFO with potentially aliens on board. That would be hard evidence. These types of videos that we're seeing are all, in fact, not just visual videos, but they also include various other frequencies like ultraviolet, infrared. They have really done some amazing things in the military in order to track potential enemy targets. Mm-hmm. So it's one thing to say that was a cloud formation, or maybe it was a sun reflecting off of something. That might be true in the visual spectrum, Chris, but when we're talking about all these other frequencies mm-hmm. that we're also monitoring, and we see things, and that includes like radar, for instance, mm-hmm. which is not affected by any of these visual things that we might see in the sky ourselves.
And the personal testimony as well. There was the individual that was captain of the naval ship that said there's basically daily occurrences that they would, or I shouldn't say daily occurrence, it was regular that they would see these types of phenomena, and the pilots and everybody else. In my view, the report is going to indicate that, yes, these things are seen, but we can't clearly say who is responsible for it because we don't have that much evidence. I think that's the direction that the report is going. Your thoughts on that before we move on?
Yeah, we'd have to have our hands on it. It's just like when I had the encounter. I wasn't taking anything away from it. If all you're doing is observing it through multiple frequencies, again, we know something was there. We know it could move in ways mm-hmm. that we just can't imagine. Yes, absolutely. I believe in these things. I saw them. I've seen them before. My mother has seen them before. I know people personally who have had multiple encounters. I know people who say they can summon UFOs and have them come down, and I've seen the videos that they've taken. This is a very interesting topic, but I agree with you again, Chris. I don't think anything totally earth-shattering is going to come out of this. It's going to be, we're seeing something. We have hard evidence that something was there, but there's no way to tell exactly what it was.
Is it bad that I'm jealous of the people that can summon UFOs? Because I don't feel like you have any real power until you can summon a UFO.
It's like being an Avenger, yeah.
Yeah, you can do whatever you want. Like, I could discuss policy with anybody, go to any sporting event, but unless you can summon a UFO, I feel like I'm a failure in life.
Yeah, it's interesting the way they do it, too. It's a mental thing. They feel that as though they have a mental bridge with these people. The Law of One people, I'm not sure if you're familiar with them or not, but some of the things that they've been doing. And then they use lasers in order to help the UFOs kind of pick exactly where they are and call them up. And I've seen videos of entire small armadas, if you will, of these lights in the sky coming down, and various types of light patterns and movements, and just disappear again with 50 witnesses who all say it absolutely happened.
Let's move on to Russia and the most recent cyber hack involving a major meat producer, Brazilian-based JBS. So just the latest on that, in your view, as we heard early on that the Biden administration was pushing the Kremlin as to whether they were responsible for this attack. We haven't seen a lot of reporting basically on the circumstance surrounding JBS. They were able to regain control of that. There wasn't any, it would appear, major supply chain issues at this point in regard to beef production and distribution. What are your thoughts on this?
JBS is a pretty standard case nowadays, and I talked over the weekend here on my show about something I'm going to be releasing. Hopefully I'll get it finished today. But it gives some real evidence, again, evidence-based, that this major set of attacks, including what we saw from Colonial, is in fact coming from Russia, and that is that when the ransomware first gets onto your computer system, it checks to see if you have one of about a dozen different keyboards. Now, those keyboards are keyboards of countries that are part of the OIC, these independent states, if you will, that used to be part of the Soviet Union. So the way the ransomware works, and I went into some detail, I'm going to send out some videos today or tomorrow to all of my subscribers so you can see how to do it yourself. But when most ransomware gets on your computer, Chris, the first thing it does is say, do you have a Russian keyboard? Or Belarus, or Armenian, a number of different keyboards it looks for. If you have a Russian keyboard, immediately it goes ahead and doesn't install itself, just exits immediately. And the theory behind this, and by the way, it can be just a virtual keyboard, doesn't have to be a real keyboard. The theory really now comes forward. Why would they do that? Is it because these bad guys are based in an area where the Russians have enough control that they could grab them and throw them into a gulag somewhere? And that seems to be what we in the security community are thinking is happening. So, yeah, it really looks like it's coming from Russia, and we just had the energy secretary yesterday on CNN, Jennifer Granholm, say that, yeah, they're happening all of the time. I see them all of the time. My customers are getting attacked multiple times a second even. They're getting scanned. And President Biden came out with 2 executive orders now that are mandating that the federal government and its suppliers start really locking things down. And we've been working with a lot of companies in order to do that. But it smells a lot that this was really a Russian thing. And as, again, Secretary Granholm said over the weekend, we cannot pay ransoms. All it's doing is encouraging them. And to see Colonial Pipeline give them $4.5 million just absolutely blows my mind.
Agree. It's one of the basic principles, and basically cyber attackers or terrorists, you don't pay the terrorists. You don't pay them, because when you do, next time they want more money. It also creates an environment where like-minded individuals are going to start to perpetrate these crimes, and it's pretty easy for them to do. And it seems like a lot of government entities and businesses are running blind. Craig, we got to run. Thank you so much.
Take care.
Craig Peterson, host of Tech Talk here on News Radio 610 and 96.7, Saturdays and Sundays at 11:30